project to install beehives at our urban buildings. Yay, Julie! Yeah. So our friends from Aveole are here, Quentin and Sarah, to install our landlord beehive right here on the side of the alley. They're going to give us a little workshop about what it means to have an urban installed beehive. So I will turn it over to them.
My name is Sarah, I'm your beekeeper, and today we are going to install your hive and just kind of meet your bees. I'm going to go over the tools that I use and the structure of the hive and who you're going to meet inside the hive and what you're going to see.
Just one thing about the entrance, you're going to see the hive is oriented towards the little alley in the back. So when you go now walk to the hive, you're going to be facing the back of the hive. The entrance will be on the other side. We just do this as a matter of safety because, as Sarah said, there are three sides that are fully sealed. One where is the entrance. If in this case, especially where you can have a corridor, if you were oriented the entrance towards here, they will kind of fly onto us. So we don't want to bother them and we don't want them to bother us. So that's the only reason. You're going to be able to come up close. A general rule as a beekeeper, I never step in front of the hive. I'm always in the side or in the back of it, but not in the front, just because otherwise I bother them when they come in and out. So that's the only reason. So that's the kind of a safety with the 6 to 10 feet distance from the hive at all time, and unless your beekeeper is here and invite you to come a little closer. So first Sarah is going to show how she likes the smoker. So as she says, burlap, it's a fully like organic fiber pretty much. It burns very slow. The goal is not about heat. The goal is to make a white, dense, cool smoke that just kind of like block the bees from being able to communicate. They communicate through smell via pheromone. So I'm French. If you guys don't speak French and I talk to you in French, I can tell you super important things. You're just going to be standing here like I don't get it. The bees, we pretty much smoking, so we bring a new smell, a language that they don't understand. And as Sarah said, it's a hive mind, it's a collective. They don't take individual decisions. They need to talk to each other to be able to say, okay, that's what we're going to do. So by bringing a new language that they don't understand, they're not able to kind of create this group together that could defend the hive. So they just stay put for a few minutes. That's pretty much the idea. And you can see the smoke. The goal of the smoke is to be lukewarm, not hot at all. We don't want to burn the bees. It smells very nice, but yeah, that's it. We just want them to stay very calm, and also to not stress them. We don't want them to reach a threshold that every time a beekeeper comes every 3 weeks, it becomes these things where we're disturbing them too much. So we keep them very calm. So it's kind of like 20 minutes after we're gone, it goes back to normal.
And this is my hive tool, and this is what I will use to kind of go through the hive. When they create their wax, it creates what's called propolis, and it's super sticky. And so like I use this to pick through the hive, and sometimes it looks like I might be squishing them when I go through the hive. You'll see, but on the frames they have these little like spaces right here, and so when I'm moving through, they're not getting crushed or anything. There's enough space. I'll tap them on the back a little bit to be like, get out of the way, and they'll get out of the way. No problem. So right now there is about 12 to 20,000 bees in there.
Really?
Yes. Wow. Yes. And you are going to meet them all today. Maybe if the queen graces us with her presence, that's always an if and maybe. But at the end of the season, when I extract your honey, it'll be about 50,000 bees. So yeah, big family. And there are 3 kind of hierarchies within the hive. There is the queen, 1 queen per hive. There's the worker bee, and there's the drone. So the hive is about 90% female. The worker bees are all female, and they have multiple and they have multiple jobs that they go through throughout their life. The bees start off as housekeepers, and they walk around and they clean out the cells to make sure that the queen has room to lay her eggs. And then they also, at the bottom of the hive, will kind of drag out debris that comes through the bottom. So if you ever see like dead bees around your hive, no worries, totally natural. It just means the housekeepers are doing their job. And then after that, they start to kind of develop another gland that they can store nectar in, and they will become nurse bees. And nurse bees, they collect nectar from the forager bees that come in. They meet at the entrance and they collect the nectar. And they go and they feed the eggs and the larvae, and they feed the queen. The queen doesn't really do much other than lay eggs, but her companions will feed her all the time. And then after the nurses do their job, they will move on to kind of being, they will be the foragers. And the foragers is when they finally leave the hive. So a majority of a bee's life, I'd say about 2/3 of their life, they spend inside the hive. And then the last third of their life, they spend foraging. They'll go out to flowers in about a 2 to 3 mile radius around their hive, and they will collect nectar and pollen. And the nectar they collect, they actually have 2 stomachs, which is super cool. So the one stomach is for digestion and just life in general, and then the other stomach is for collecting nectar and storing it, and then bringing it back to the hive to be able to kind of regurgitate it back into the nurse bee's stomach, and then she can go do her thing inside the hive. And the pollen that they collect is super important because that serves as their protein. So when they collect pollen, they kind of, hopefully I'll be able to find some in the hive, but if you've ever seen, they kind of have like little satchels on the sides of their bodies, and that's where the pollen just hangs out. And I call them pollen pockets. I think it's so adorable. And it's so cute. And it kind of makes them a little heavy, so when they come to the hive, they're kind of like they're trying to like fly back into the entrance. It's one of my favorite things. But yeah, and then also another job, kind of a side job that the workers do, is they do temperature control and dehydration of the nectar. So the queen really likes her hive to be at a really specific temperature, about the same as a human body, like 98 degrees. And so when it gets a little too hot, the bees will fan their wings for pretty much all day, and they'll keep the temperature, but this also dehydrates the nectar because honey is about 18% water. So they dehydrate the nectar to a point where it's all sticky and it gets that honey consistency, and then they cap it off, and that is their resources, or maybe your honey in a few months. So after that, then worker bees live to about 30 days. Not super long, but the cycle is very quick. That's why I come every 3 weeks, just to see that they're doing their thing. Now drones, they're the male bees. They have no stingers. They're really fuzzy. They're adorable. They're huge. And maybe one of you guys can be brave enough to hold one. No stingers again. But the drone bees, they live to be about 50 days. And their main purpose in life is to go out and to mate. And they mate once, and that's all they do. It's really great. And it's really great. Yeah, they do their thing, and that's pretty much it. And they kick them out for the winter because it's just another mouth to feed, and it's unnecessary. And then we have the queen, and she will live to be about 5 years. Yes, long time. And she, lays eggs. She does her thing. She will go out. A virgin bee will leave. A virgin queen, will leave the hive, and she will mate with about 50 drones. Now, she will never mate with a drone that she gave birth to. Incest is also not cool in the honeybee world at all, and they know that because they communicate through pheromones. So they'll know, like through smell. So they'll know if the queen is their queen or not. And yes, those are all the folks that you will see in the hive today.
Foragers. Do the foragers, do they kind of like run around randomly, or are they able to communicate to other foragers like where they've been and how to get places?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they absolutely do that. They will go out, and when they find a good spot that has what's called a nectar flow, where there's just a lot of goodies to get from there, they'll come back and they'll do like a little dance their little vibration dance, and they'll be like, and we also are still studying this and don't really understand how they do it, but they like will sometimes like they'll move in certain ways to like physically show them how to get to where they're talking about, and yeah, they like really just they will communicate exactly where.
So they don't like follow each other. There's some sort of like direction.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, they're able to map out for the other bees pretty much. Like they create this, you know, the 8, the infinite signs. So that's what they're gonna do in the frame. They're gonna run around in a 8 shape in this infinite sign. The fact that they wiggle or not will tell you tell them the type of resources that are available. Water, pollen, honey, for example. The angle of that 8, both angles determine the placement from between the hive, the sun, and other landmark, and so they're able to tell the bees what is it, where is it, how many bees should go there.
So they are little and then they grow?
They come out super fuzzy and really small.
Oh
And so
my
here's
God.
where all the babies and the larvae are, and then you can kind of see, like here's the pollen, and then there's honey up in the corners right here. Pollen in the middle.
Yeah.